I understand that she is getting on up in years, but still, shame on Gloria Steinem for praising and giving an award to this gold digger who does not hesitate to abandon her own family just for a fistful of money. But today, we are finding out that Meghan and Gloria Steinem are actually not all that close. I think it's a load of BS despite what the PR machine wants us to believe, but maybe I'm wrong. As far as we can see, Gloria Steinem was absolutely devastated after her award ceremony was overshadowed from PR news from Meghan and Harry's alleged car chase. A person close to her claimed that Steinem was feeling pretty irritated, that so much information was focused solely on Meghan instead of the impressive ceremony that she and her team worked so hard to build. The insider exclaims, "It is backfiring, and they regret it. They were manipulated by her. Gloria bit off a bit more than she could chew when she teamed up with the Megsta. Now she's publicly been made a fool of by a piranha who was constantly on the hunt, specifically for the vulnerable." Gloria may have awarded Markle with the best of intentions after being gold by the fraudster. I doubt she had any idea that when she publicly patted her on the back, she'd get the knife in hers in return. But she will now. Let's see how long it takes Gloria to comment on the fact that her life's work was reduced to a staged photo op. This is not going to end well for Meghan or her trophy cupboard. And I do feel bad for Gloria Steinem. I mean, a long time ago she was so relevant, but now she's basically an anachronism. She was probably so happy to be dragged into the spotlight again by what she may have believed was a woman of gravitas. Maybe she figured out that she was being used, or maybe she was just happy to get some publicity while it was going. But it looks like she fell victim to Meghan like so many other people. She has been markled, and she may be wondering what in the world just happened. On the other hand, I know nothing about her as a person, so maybe she's no better than Meghan. Who knows what kind of interactions and arrangements this very unlikely pair may have agreed upon. I do believe, though, that somebody with a more critical eye would never have allowed herself to be used like this. There is something very fishy about this whole situation, and it's pretty disturbing, too. I mean, so many awards for no real achievement. To claim you want to do something and actually do it are two entirely different things. Meghan does a lot of talking, but realistically, she hasn't done anything. Even if she is using these awards, don't the organizations understand that they are lowering and cheapening their own brands by awarding Meghan Markle? I think the party is over for her. The more that her name is in the media, the better people see who she really is. There's one thing that comes to my mind. So Gloria is a real feminist. Nobody can deny that. And she has been for a long time. At this point, she's not relevant. But when I was young, she talked about real problems that women had to deal with, like pay inequality and aggressive male coworkers. Just think about that movie 9 to 5, which was a comedy, but still it discussed some real problems that women had to face on a daily basis in the workplace and even beyond. I have to give her respect for still being who she is, and I do feel so bad that she got markled. It's not fair. Meghan, on the other hand, is just an opportunist. She's like a shark. So was this woman receiving awards 3 years ago? Absolutely not. How many years of real effort does a person need to do for an award? It seems like Meghan can just hitch her little wagon to any charity for a very brief time and then she gets an award for herself. People need to look into the criteria for a nomination for these awards. It seems like they're just handing them out to whoever, and I'm sure Meghan's paying for these awards anyway. It's real volunteers who are doing the real work every single day, and they don't do it for an award. They do it for the people they're working to help. They do it quietly and with a lot of love in their hearts. And then Meghan waltzes in and waltzes out, and she gets all the accolades for her fake volunteer work. And the truth is, charity does begin at home. She needs to figure out how to love and care for her family first. Some people are saying that Meghan Markle buys the awards by donating a lot of money, and I believe this 100%. And because of her relationship, she gives the organization a lot of free publicity. Well, I had never even heard of this award before Meghan got it, and many other awards too. I think the worst had to have been the award that was given to her by Kerry Kennedy, awards given by the RFK Foundation. That was such a slap in the face, and I'm sure Kerry feels bad about what she did. She shouldn't really worry about it though, because like so many other people, she was manipulated by Meghan. In her prime, Gloria would have had nothing to do with Meghan. Meghan would be disgusted by Steinem's aged appearance, and she doesn't have any respect for anyone, but especially anyone that has been ravaged by time, because she feels like she's seeing her future and she cannot handle that. Obviously, from the multiple surgeries and the posting of her refreshed face, age is something that Meghan simply cannot face. It's gonna be very lonely, Meghan, especially for you. Another thing to consider is that many of these awards seem pretty goofy and they're frequently given out, so they're meaningless. It's actually pretty outrageous when you stop and consider all the truly noble people out there who really are doing something meaningful to try to improve the world, and they never get any recognition, let alone awards for it. Back in the day, intelligent women made good changes in the right places. For example, my kids were raised understanding the truth that these so-called feminists spewed out. I absolutely loved being a wife and a mother and a woman. My father respected me, my brothers respected me, my husband respected me too, and my daughters are college educated. I also have very respectful sons-in-law. And personally, I appreciated having the privilege to stay home with my kids when they were young instead of having to be out in the workplace. I didn't think it was a bad thing to be a stay-at-home mother. But at the same time, I've always had so much respect for single mothers. I mean, they have to do a lot of work, and so sometimes I would help them if I had the opportunity. Now, at this point, of course, I'm retired. I've had a great life. Poor Gloria Steinem now looks pitiful. Unfortunately, they brought her out on display, well, Meghan did, in fact, and there was a reason behind it, and that reason was not to make her look good, it was to make Meghan look good. Gloria Steinem should have been able to retire in peace, and maybe she could have written a book and she could have opened her home to welcome a young generation to go visit her online or in person to learn some lessons from her. It looks like history is just repeating itself. So Meghan gave that nonsensical speech while accepting an award that she bought and paid for in front of a sparsely attended Women of Vision event. A TV trade dinner, oh whatever. Meghan really believes in herself. Meghan always follows the same formula. So she drops a few names that she thinks are going to make herself sound better. She talks about some boring anecdote from her past, and we suspect it's always totally made up for the occasion anyway. And then she word salads a statement or a speech with all kinds of buzzwords, but basically no content, because she only wants to talk about herself. So no, I don't really believe Meghan's stupid story about the TV trade dinner or that she read Ms. Magazine. I actually don't believe a word that comes out of that woman's mouth. I think I could plagiarize that line in a future post of mine, actually. I guess somebody forgot to hire some fans to cheer her on and fill up those empty tables. You know heads are going to roll. It doesn't seem that long ago, actually, that Harry gave a speech to a very sparsely attended UN event in New York, after which Meghan Markle was ranting and raving, "This is never going to happen again." Later on, in Manchester, word on the street was that Meghan had hired and flown over and even got accommodations for a whole lot of people to cheer them on and pretend like they liked Meghan. Did somebody forget, I wonder, to round up a bunch of well-wishers? Or is it that they couldn't find anybody who was willing to do the job? Were they all too busy that evening? I suspect their security detail is just way too expensive for them. And let's not forget about the cost of using a private jet to fly everywhere. And they've got to pay more money for hired seat warmers and the dinner afterward. Yeah, the price is getting pretty high. It's getting pretty expensive these days to buy an award, to award it to yourself, and make sure there are people there to see you win that award. You gotta pay for fans to chow down on the dinner for free and listen to another boring acceptance speech that doesn't even make any sense. And of course, they have got to be clapping and cheering on cue. The cost is just too high. They need to spend that money on alcohol and drugs, let's not forget. The two of them are just so incredibly selfish. But let's remember, selfish self-service is universal. I know, because Meghan Markle told us so herself.